Let's do it.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of having a good friend of mine. We haven't talked in a while, but he is the one and only Brandon, old man VanCleave. What's up,
Yes,
bro?
sir. Nothing much, man. Just chilling, enjoying a beautiful day. It's obviously beautiful. At least see that blue sky. It's beautiful outside today.
Yeah, and that blue sky is an indicator that everything, hopefully, soon enough, will be okay.
I'm sure. Well, like we always have as a species, we have the potential to bounce back from anything. So I'm sure this is just a little bump in the road, but we'll get it done.
No, 100%. And again, for those who had been contemplating about doing things and maybe starting a business venture or even just getting their own personal stuff in order, their affairs in order, this is the time. I mean,
Oh, for sure. It's
I actually, um, and I'm kind of close to the vest, but I kind of started a clothing brand.
that's pretty
Um,
awesome. That's dope.
yeah, vintage grappler. So
I definitely got to
you
look
should
into it.
start to see stuff from that soon. Just kind of kicking up the podcast like a madman. I think I've done probably in the last 2 months about 60.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a bit. I mean, you got to put in that work if you want results. So get it done.
that's the way that I see it. Is the fact that you know if Rogan, and it's funny that we're doing it today because he just debuted on Spotify. The entire Joe Rogan catalog has
Yeah.
dropped on, yeah, on Spotify. So people can,
Oh,
yeah.
that's definitely
So
news to me. I'm on it.
yeah, so the way that I figure, Rogan was a name when he started a podcast, but he was still getting about 100 or 200 views even on live stream, right? So
Yeah,
um, he put 10 years into it, and it's $100 million plus property, right? So I have to
I need
I have
that.
to work 8 times as hard to get maybe a quarter of which he has, but it's still a not a
It's
bad
not a bad.
situation to
I
be in.
mean, if the pie is large enough, a quarter of it's not a bad slice.
Absolutely. And again, he's a hero of mine. So shout out to Joe and the whole deal. I mean,
I mean, I feel like he's
it
a hero to everybody in this sport. Like whether you're competing or you find some way to like to put your energy into it, you gotta. It just has that energy where you can't not be a fan. It's no like Joe Rogan haters. It just doesn't happen. I don't think so. I haven't met any.
no, I agree 100%. And Jesse Velasquez says you don't look very old.
Oh,
Uh,
trust me, bro. I'm an old man. Like I started my old age around 1920. So I'm 34 now. Yeah, and it's up there. But I still feel young. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And he's saying busiest podcast out there, 100%. And it's weird because it's just I especially at a time of uncertainty, it's just checking in and seeing how like my friends are doing,
I
and
mean, yeah,
not just
it's
that,
love.
but making new friends in different places and seeing how they're doing.
Yeah,
That's it.
I mean that's love right there. That's like that's a good. It takes a good heart to have that mindset. So yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time as well, and just reaching out. It's definitely worthwhile for me. So yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you're gonna get to that slice of pie or the whole thing before you know it.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I mean, thank you because I mean, the first kind of iteration of the According to Woods podcast, you and your teammate Ali Nazari were on together. That was the first time I did like a tandem,
Yeah,
podcast with two people in, and you guys were so gracious
I'm honored.
to do that.
I'm
Yeah,
honored. That's a
no,
part of history.
absolutely. So I mean, I thank you for it. Anytime you want on, you guys are instrumental in my success. You guys got on.
Awesome. I'll
And
take that offer.
John Parker says, "True talk." Rogan tells it like it is. Absolutely.
Always, yeah.
Sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but it's sometimes what you need to hear, and then you got some sprinkled in the things that you want to hear get sprinkled in with what you need to hear. It's both sugar and spice,
I
and
mean,
sometimes it's not nice.
yeah, I mean, regardless of how you feel about it, real talk is always valuable. So, if someone's gonna be honest and be real, you gotta appreciate that for what it's worth. No, regardless of how it makes you feel. You take how it makes you feel and you process that on your own. But for the most part, yeah, you gotta respect that.
No, 100%, 100%. And you're somebody that I respect. Uh, I mean, to umpteenth degree, because not only are you a fighter, but I mean, you relocated your entire life, from New York State, and then coming to California could be an arduous task. And then you're like, I was a champion in my home state, and I want to see if I can replicate the success out west. It's almost like a gold rush, so to speak. So
I
how did that
mean,
all come out?
yeah, I mean that definitely one of the reasons why I chose this portion of the country was because it's the mecca for MMA. It's just MMA, in my knowledge or experience, feels like it started here, and then when I got out here and I was able to train, I like that energy was increased. It was more of a present that this was the home for MMA, and this is where if you wanted to excel at it and it was a passion of yours, then you could. I mean, I had that experience somewhat in New York, but it still was it was like almost like a mild case of it to a certain extent. I love my city to the fullest, and I'll always appreciate being born there and being raised there because it gives you this edge and this level of energy that you can only get from that city. But as far as in when it comes down to MMA, yeah, Cali got them beat. It's just the place you want to be if you're trying to compete, and that's why I stuck around. I mean, the journey to get here was was a bit of I'd say a bumpy road, but I mean, anything worth doing or any route that you take, it's gonna have those bumps on it, and it's not to deter you from doing it. It's to make you stronger while getting to your goal, so that when you do reach your goal, you can not only obtain it but maintain it. And that's what I've learned in the few years that I've been here. Because I got out here around 2017, and I went like no job, like just not as prepared as I could have been, I should say. And I've managed to edge out a pretty decent life that I'm enjoying, and I'm enjoying the stability that I created for myself. So now, with that being in place, I feel like I can commit to competing more with a clearer mindset. Because when I first got out here, it was just more like I got to find a job, I got to find a place to stay, and I got to fight to pay for those things. So it was a lot on my plate. No, and I mean, it helped me in some sense, and it distracted me in some sense. But it was all a part of my process, and I always trust my process. I've learned that the universe is always on your side. Just give it a little faith and a little trust, because we tend to uh, like oppose our feelings on the situation from our perspective, and our perspective could be a bit limited at time, or it could be a bit obstructed from what society says is the right move or what your friends are doing. So I tend to like take a step back and just like, you know what, universe, you said this way, that route, bet, let's do it. Let's see where it goes. And since I've been doing that, life has been fun. Simply put, just fun.
No, 100%. And Charlton Partner says it's that John Jones path, just, you know, don't ignore the stop signs like he did, you know,
I
which,
mean,
oh,
yeah, he went a little left field with it, but I mean, like some it's his process, like, and it's lessons in it for him to learn, and when he learns them, he'll move on to the next step. But what we see for him as a person or as a competitor may not actually be for him. It's just we see it. Oh yeah, you can do that. You can be the best at this. You can be a legacy. Why not go for it? It just makes sense. But we're outside of the box, seeing a perfect image or what we think is a perfect image. And I mean, in all reality, that might not be his journey. This might just be a small portion of his journey. So I mean, he'll hopefully he ends where he wants to be, or he gets to where he wants to be, and he continues to enjoy his life. But regardless of the lessons you come across that you ignore or accept, as long as you're finding some way to enjoy life, it's a life worth living.
No, 100%, 100%. And everybody's on their own path. And that's why I like to kind of do this. And sometimes the questions might seem monotonous, and asking like how'd you start, whatever. But like to each person, it's completely different. I know
Oh, for
people
sure.
that are world champions that never watched any type of combat sports before it. It's just something that kind of
Yeah.
came to them well.
I mean,
And
it's, maybe they did it in a past life, or just built in their DNA. You never know. Just there's so many versions of what life could be. You just never know. So you gotta respect everybody's journey and everybody's process, and I mean, appreciate yours.
100%, 100%. And you making the move out here, Jesse says makes sense. For the most part, all events are in California, especially in
Yeah,
combat
it's like
sports.
you if you want to be in one, there's no reason why you're not. Like back home, it was still illegal in New York, so I had to always travel to Jersey, and then it was either Jersey or somewhere like for like Jersey, maybe 30-40 minutes from New York, or like Jersey, Pennsylvania, 2-3 hours from New York, or Atlantic City, which is 3 hours from New York, to compete. And more than likely the same organization that was 30 minutes closer at one point in time, but they're picking different venues and stuff like that. I think I fought in maybe 1 to 2 different organizations in New York repeatedly, because they were like the only ones around, whereas it's a surplus out here. It's just like scattered like everywhere. It's almost like litter. Just pick a spot, go fight.
No, 100%. I mean, pre-COVID, I mean, even
Yeah, pretty
the
much
week
that.
before, yeah, I mean, there was like, I was working almost every weekend, if not every other weekend, and sometimes it was like, driving down to San Diego for a Friday show, then heading up Spar Star at Commerce on Saturday, and probably doing Anaheim
Yeah.
on Sunday and whatever, for Bright Promotions. So it's like, that was what it was for the last 4 years. And then all of a sudden, and I know just on my
Yeah.
end, I mean, it was pretty nutty. But I mean, for somebody that is actively competing and ultimately trying to better themselves through their art, the only way that you can kind of get it in is essentially by applying your trade in different scenarios. And when
Yeah.
all of that dries up, holy smokes.
Yeah, it's just drills at this point, just drills, and I mean they're valuable, but you still need that iron to sharpen iron. So it's to a certain extent. So I mean, I'm hoping that this thing clears up and gyms reopen, and like just being on the mat is a real thing. Because not only did I want to go to the gym that I started with when I got out here, it was several other ones that I wanted to check out or experience that I know produce great fighters. So you got to go into the Lions Den. You want to get tougher. You want to excel. And I realized that throughout my journey. At some point, I managed to move to Georgia because I had some relatives out there, and I was able to train full time. And then the gym that I was training in, it's called Rush, but it's a ATT affiliate gym. It's in Macon, Georgia. It's a great place, and those guys there were legit, legit just martial artists and fighters, and they gave me, being from New York, me being a little up north, they gave me no slack. Just like, yeah, like this is our home, like you're gonna work. And in that environment, it taught me like what I need. I need to, I mean, it kind of seems like it's simple or it's common sense in retrospect, but yeah, I need that aggression. I need that uncomfort is the better word to say. Like I gotta be outside of my comfort zone. I gotta be as close to the real thing as possible. And when I'm training in that environment, only thing I'm doing is getting better and better and better and better. And I mean, I kid you not, the year or two that I was out there, I went my I if I'd say my game was like a 4, I went from like a 4 to like a 20, just from like, and then it was the first time I got to train full time. So I committed my heart and soul to it in every way, shape, and form. Training 3 times a day, 6 days a week, and it really brought my game up to a new level. And I feel like it was the perfect place to be for that moment. But like I said, if you want to be great at the sport, this is the hometown for it. So that's why I'm here, and I don't plan on going anywhere. I can't. It's like once you live in LA, you make a life out here, or I would say more maybe in any part of California. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe the Californians can let me know, but for LA, yeah, like it's like where else? Where else would you live in this country? Like my only other option is leaving the country. Like
Yeah,
that's the like where else? Like this
yeah,
nothing else
yeah.
makes
And
sense.
it's no disrespect to any other part of the union, not
Oh
by a
no, they
long
have
shot.
their
Yeah,
they have beautiful places. They have many reasons to be there. But for me and my perspective, it's just my heart. Yeah, it's right here. Just I mean maybe and for the people that don't understand, come visit. You know, check it out. You'll see why.
absolutely. See it through your own eyes. Which I mean, John Parker, who was a guest on this podcast just last night, and a mixed martial artist in his own right, he says, it's talking about kind of putting your feet to the fire, kind of sharpening your tools. If there is a dream matchup for you, who would it be? Past or present? It's a great question, John.
I don't honestly say I would have a dream matchup. I don't think I've given it any real thought to give a valid answer. But I mean, quite honestly, every match that I've lost, I want to fight those guys again. Like what? Like for sure. Like let's rematch this. Let's run it back. Like because I mean, and then we can run it back after that. Because after that point, I want to prove that it was just your night. Or matter of fact, it wasn't even your night. I was just off that night. And let's run it back so I can prove to you that when I'm like that I'm on and I'm ready to get it done. And then let's run it back again so that you know for sure it wasn't a matter of you being off that night. And then it just is what it is. And I'm top notch with it. So to give a real opinion on who would be a dream matchup, I don't anyone that would fight me right now, like especially under the circumstances, I just want to compete. Like it's been a while, and I think 3 years is the longest I went without competing. I started training in 2008, and I say I had like my first amateur fight maybe around 2010, 2011. I don't know, that's a long time ago. But yeah, the longest I've ever been out has been a year. It's just this last fight, I broke my hand, I had to get surgery. So I mean, and then I was building a life in LA, so that took priority more than competing and just healing up and getting better. And now society's a little off its rocker, so I can't do what I want to do. But yeah, my dream matchup is whoever's next. Like, let's get it. I'm ready to compete. I'm at a whole nother level of just like comfortable, just strength in my mindset, just belief in my abilities, and just acceptance of this sport and everything that it comes with, and just having a good time. Like having a good time. And like these last few years, especially being out here, I was able to like really get a further depth into my spirituality and just like being a human being and energies and frequencies. And just I mean, you get a lot of that out here. A lot of people are on a spiritual journey in California. I think California kind of makes it easy. So it kind of you kind of draw to it if you already have that mindset or that capability. But yeah, I'm a different person than who I was 3 years ago. That's wholeheartedly for sure. And I'm ready to prove that to no one else but myself. And yeah, so my dream matchup is, I guess, me.
Woo! I like it. I like it. And sometimes that's where the best battles are won against yourself.
Yeah,
The willingness to train, to get it on the mat and go against the toughest guy on the mat that's sweating, puddles around him. Heck, it might even be a gal, and going
yeah,
like, I'm going to test my skill against them and see where I'm at on this journey.
yeah. That's exactly the mindset you have to have if you want to be a household name, or you want to be someone to be remembered in this sport. You want to make a place for yourself, or if you just want to put enough food on your table that this is what you do with your day to day. And I mean that's my goal. Like for the anything other than being able to commit to this 24/7 and being able to put enough zeros in my bank account and food on the table, I'm good there. I don't need anything else other than that, and I'm enjoying life because I love the sport. It's not about the fame or the attention or the followers or anything of that sort. I just genuinely love the sport. This is something that I'm going to do until like the doctor's like, bro, no, like don't like you're. I'm going to come to the fight and stop it if you try. Like, and then outside of that, I'm gonna find some other way to be a part of it. Whether I follow suit and join the podcast, and start my own thing, or coaching the next generation of some sort, and putting all that knowledge that I've gained from this into use or into the next generation. Because I mean, this is my college. This I've been doing this for over 10 years. This is my education. These are the tools that I've acquired. So I want to pass them down not only to my son, but to whoever is willing to learn. And if that's my next step in it, whether it's now or 10, 20 years from now, then I'm all for it. Like I said, I trust my process. So wherever my process takes me, I always know for sure it's for my highest good. And this 3 years being out here and experiencing life has taught me that whatever I go through, whatever life is, it's for my highest good. And as long as you have that mindset, it'll be that. Because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your reality and you create it. So if you have a different mindset, you're getting what you're asking for. So everything I go through is for my highest good. And I know my next couple of matches, win, lose, draw, whatever, I'm going to have fun. I'm trying to take somebody's head off. And nope, like caution to the wind. Like, let's just do this, bro. Like, before, you got that, I want to do my best. And, I just, like, my friends are watching and the camera's on. And then you're just building up a whole bunch of pressure into yourself that isn't necessary for thoughts that don't need to occur. When you should do what you do without all those ideas in your mindset, and that's when you're in the gym, you just go out and have fun. You're enjoying your day, and that's what I want to do. It's just instead of it being at 50% of my aggression or my power, I get to unleash everything. Like it just like there's no such thing as caution anymore. And just going out there and doing what I want to do and having fun. Like I don't even want to a certain extent like my corner to give me directions, because I feel like for me as a fighter, I fought my first pro fight was more or less by myself. Like my lady at the time, she wrapped my hands. Like she on Reddit learned how to wrap hands, wrap my hands, had my pro fight, and I was fighting some kid from Chicago, Illinois, and he was like I think maybe an undefeated amateur, and he was undefeated as a pro 1-0, and it was my debut. And I just thought, just remind me to move, like, and remind me to breathe. That's it. That's all I need. And I did well. I did extremely well, and that's when I realized. And then fights after that with having coaches, screaming at you, telling you what to do. I realized that in those moments, it kind of like stops me from my flow, because now I'm cutting off like my focus from here to hear you. Like, and I'm not like turning my head, huh? What'd you say? No, I can hear you, but in that brief moment, now my focus has shifted for a second. And in that shift, it breaks my flow. I just need to go flow. Just let me flow, coach. Like, let me flow and remind me of the basics. Like, breathe, move your feet, back to the center. That's it. So yeah, I'm ready to do this, man. Just like really, like wholeheartedly, full fledged, no fear, and just trust in my process. Like if I'm going to sleep that night or you going to sleep that night, doesn't matter. We're gonna have fun, like, and we're gonna put on a show. And I feel like every fight I've ever had has always been entertaining. I've never had a boring fight. I've never like win, lose, or draw. I've never had a boring fight. Like my fights are always entertaining because you can feel that intensity, and I feel like my opponent can feel that intensity. So either he gears up for a fight or he like runs from one. But either way, like you like the crowd and everyone in the mix can get that energy from it. So, and that's one of the things I pride myself on. Like at the end of the day, I'm entertaining as a fighter. regardless of what goes on at the end of whoever hands is raised. You're gonna be like, I want to see him again. But yeah,
No, 100%, 100%. And John Parker was saying, in terms of being in that East Coast scene, he was in Maine. It's like a 4.5 drive just to fight.
yeah.
4.5 hours.
And then you cut, and then as an amateur, there was no day before weigh. There was day of weigh in, so you cut weight, and then you drive 4 hours to weigh in a car, uncomfortable, and it's just a miserable journey. It's a little bit better for the pro game, but still, you still kind of have to like make that trip out there as you're cutting weight, rather than because it's like a 1 day thing. You do your thing. Maybe you weigh in the day before you fight because they're only posting your hotel for but so much, and then you're back home right after the fight type of deal. Especially for the smaller organizations. And I get it, it's a part of the process, but it just makes it so much more difficult. It's not as fun as it could be if you can leave from your house and then head to the event 20 minutes. Cut weight, 20 minutes out, let's go, weigh in, I'm back rehydrated type of deal. And that's been my experience in Cali. It just made it cutting weight just that much more easier. Cutting weight is that much more easier because it's still cutting weight, which is not fun. But yeah, I think the lowest I've ever made was like 145, but I don't think I'm doing that again. I'll do I'll do 155 for sure. I feel like 155 is that like that it's not a tough cut, but it's not an easy one. It's like that middle ground area where I can get there with discipline, but I don't have to like cut off a limb to get there type of situation. And then maybe somewhere in my career I'll end up fighting at 170 because I walk around at around 180. Like my body won't let me without like massive amounts of protein and overeating, my body won't let me get higher than 180, 180, maybe 185 on a fat weekend. Like but yeah, outside of that, it's just like, nah, this is your weight, bro. Stay here. Like whether you're muscular or you're soft, it's like 180. That's it. So yeah, I mean, further down the road, I might compete at 170. See how that feels. But for right
If that's
now,
your
I'm
if
yeah.
that's your metabolism, can we switch? Because I'm fucking yeah. Uh,
If it was that easy, right?
it's
That's
not
the thing.
easy.
I wish I could put on weight. Like at some point, I was trying to get to just 205 just to have like the mass. Like, and I'm 6 feet tall, so it's possible like to put it on and just like feel that, see what that feels like, and I would have a mountain of food and a meal replacement, and just eating like everything that I'm supposed to be to put on is lifting heavy, and just my body was just like, no, bro. No, like what I don't necessarily get fat when I don't work out, but I get soft. It's like this weird, like just like like it's slim and pudgy. I don't know. I get fat, like skinny fat. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, skinny fat is definitely it. Yeah, I mean, just like kind of as they say in the people who speak Spanish, the lonjas. Like the
The long
sides right
house.
there. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I've always
yeah,
had love handles. They're
yeah,
permanent. They're
yeah.
decoration. They don't move.
For sure. Nelly is saying, keep that dream alive, 100%. And
Well, sure.
Charlton Carter says he would have loved to see you against younger Mike Easton in terms of that dream match. I think that would be a fun fight too.
It sounds like
Mike
it.
Easton, yeah, absolutely. Now, one last question before we go. Jesse goes, where did the nickname come from?
Okay, so like I started this in 2008. I would say I was about, let's say like 20, early 20s, maybe younger than 25 for sure, maybe 22, 23. But by that time, I already had I had 2 kids, full-time job, living like I moved out of my parents' house when I was in high school. So like my senior year, I had my own place, and then so on and so forth. And so I had 2 kids. I was in a long-term committed relationship. And around the people that I were around who were also 22, 21, 20, that was non-existent. It was like, I still kind of live at home, or I'm in college. So I always had like more responsibilities in life, which kind of like brought about the name, as well as like this is how I got it in the gym for sure. I don't like working out, genuinely have a love-hate relationship with it. So in the gym on the mats, like I'm one of them guys who is like complaining with a smile. I don't want to do this. Like, why do we have to go another round? But I'm also the guy that's on the mat giving it his all, and like, all right, let's do 10 more. But nah, like, why did I say that? Like, so I have like a little bit of a complex, and then with it, where it's just like, I love it, I hate it, I love it, I hate it, and it shows all in love and all in fun while I'm like pushing my heart out on the gym. And then my coach is just like, as I'm like slowly getting up after the class and like, oh, I'm in pain. My coach started with like, come on, old man, let's go, let's go. And then it just kind of like stuck. Like honestly, I would want something like the Juggernaut or the wolf, like the Killer, or like just something like the Reaper. Like, come on, bro. I got stuck with old man. Like, but you know, I accepted it because it has a ring to it. Old man VanCleave, OMV, it's me. You know, like I said, I always had more responsibilities in life than my friends around me, as well as, you know, I tend to act like an old man sometimes when I'm on the mats. So that's where the name was born, and it took me about a year or two to accept it, but it's here. So yeah, I run with it now.
It's definitely here now. I mean, for the people that have supported you on this journey, and there's been many. Let's get some shout outs out of the way, my man.
Oh yeah, let me shout out like one of my first coaches, greatest guy in the world, like just genuine sweetheart. Will work you to death, but genuinely just like the nicest guys in the world. James Mills, you guys should check him out if you're ever in New York, New Jersey. He's definitely a great coach. Ian Harris is the coach that I met out here. Awesome dude. Nothing but love since I've been out here. Great skills. Let's see who else. Danny, which is one of my good friends who just always is there for me in the MMA world, always booking fights and even like going to the extent of making sure that my opponent was either a good matchup, a fair matchup, or just someone that was worthwhile fighting rather than, you know, because at the end of the day, I want to be in the cage with nothing less than a fair one. Like I'll take a challenge for sure, but anything less than the fair one, and what's the point? Like you don't get no props for winning a fight. You know that was a cakewalk unless you made it that. So let's see who else. All the guys at systems training, all the guys at fight science. There's a bunch of them. A few of the gyms that I went to in New York, Henzo Gracie's in Brooklyn, Henzo Gracie Academy, and New York City. Randy Brown, which is a good training partner that I've had for a few years. Wallow Manny, which is another great guy. I mean, took the 3 hour travel just to wrap my hands. Like, not even a coach, you know, another fighter. Just like, I'm gonna go to be there with you just so you can compete. So yeah, like that's one of the things you have to love about MMA. Like a lot of people that may be on the outside looking in may not understand it, but this sport has more love than any other place I've ever been. Like any other organization, a group of people, like more love than family. It's just nothing but love here, and there's no statuses. There's no like I'm better than you. It's, and if it is I'm better than you, and we all acknowledge that, it's come let me help you. Like help me help you get here, rather than you know I'm like you're the little guy, stay over there. It's everyone's humble, everyone's loving, and it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or you work at McDonald's. When you're on the mats, everyone is the same, and that's what made me fall in love with this sport. And shout out to all the people that's been there for me, all the people that have supported old man VanCleave, all the people that I don't know that has supported me. I love all you guys, and I love all that energy, and I want all that energy. I want all that positive energy. Like give it all to me. Like I'm gonna take it, and then I'm gonna put it to the greatest use that I possibly can, and that's me enjoying myself in a fight, which is you know what we do.
Damn right. And for those who haven't already joined the community of one Old Man Van Cleve, where can they do that, my man?
It's OMV 1111. That's 4 1. So it's like 1111. MMA at first IG. So that's my Instagram. You can check me out on there. I don't have a Facebook anymore. It might be a old one somewhere around there, but definitely if you wanna keep up with me, I'm only on IG for right now. That's just where you know it's where to be, the place to be. So that's at OMV1111 MMA. Come check me out. Come see what I do. I be posting a few things like training drills and a few things for like vegan cooking as well because I do love to cook. I'm in the kitchen. You can follow my other page as well. Is at Food Fight 718, which is another little thing like your shirt. Yeah, I got a little business I'm working on myself where I'm getting into branding my food and making it a profitable business rather than just some good food to eat in the house. So yeah, I'm sharing all the love I have to give and all my talents with the world. So come get some people. Let's get it.
I love it. I love it. Sharing is caring, and that's what you're getting a hell of a lot of care from Brent Van Cleef, unless you're on the opposite end of the cage from him. But brother, it's
I
it's
mean,
been great
it's
to
just
have you.
business. Some good
It's just
business.
business.
Yeah.
It's business. No, man, but thank you for coming on. And I can't wait to see when everything opens kind of back up and everybody's
Yeah.
safe. Safety
Yeah.
first, people.
Thank you for
You
having me
know,
as well.
yeah, absolutely. Getting back to it. So I can't wait.
Oh, you and me both. Like we got some plans, and more power to your plans and manifesting them. I'm sure they will. I'm sure it's gonna be a beautiful experience for the both of us because I know my energy is good and I keep my karma clean. And since the moment I met you, you've had nothing but that presence. So yeah, you're definitely a loving, sweet guy that I consider a good friend and just a good person to know in this sport or at all, like at all. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for being one of the good the warriors of the light in this world. So we
Well,
need
I
more of
appreciate
those.
that. I'm super humbled. But that's it. You get what you receive, and even if you get some negativity, you got to knock that dirt off your shoulder. Just
It's
keep
up
on
to
going.
you. It's up to you. You keep the cycle going, whichever cycle you want. So if you get it, transmute it, turn it into something better, and give that love back out, and that's what you'll get back. That's how you keep your karma clean. Because if you get it, you get that negative energy and you give it back. You're only asking to get it back, and then that cycle starts. And it doesn't
That's
sound like a
it.
good plan.
But it's one if you put it into work, it's something that'll work for you. So I love it. I absolutely love it, my man. Dude, I just appreciate you and all the things that you're doing, the things that you're going to continue to do, and
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see it. So go ahead and follow him at Old Man Van Cleef 1111 on Instagram or
Yes.
OBM
Yeah.
1111 on MMA.
OMV 1111 MMA. Yeah.
Damn right.
Or
And
or
I'm a
quick
cool.
fast food fight 718. You can follow me there, and then I'll have my pages tagged on that, so you can follow both from both pages. So yeah, check me out at Food Fight 718 or OMV 1111 MMA. And I've
Absolutely. And
chose
I
just for you people to know why 1111. It's my life path numbers, so it's a little bit of a spiritual meaning to me. The more I see it, the more I manifest the positivity that I'm looking to.
I love it. I love it. And especially if it's 718. I know Charlton Pardo, him and his family are vegan. So just
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Check
got some
out that
vegan
page,
dishes for you
guys.
guys.
I'm just saying. But this has been According to Woods with Brandon, Old Man Van Cleef. And thank you guys for joining us. And if you haven't already done so, consider like, sharing, and subscribing to the According to Woods page. But you guys have a wonderful day. Love you
Yeah,
all.
have a blessed one, guys.